Well, the unpopular health care bill continues to move forward in Congress. The vote is expected on Sunday, and Americans say they don't want it. They're fed up with the reckless spending in Washington. They may be ready to take out their anger at the ballot box this election day. And it's our pleasure to have with us one of the most dynamic radio talk shows hosts in America. She's the host of a new program on Moody Radio Network called In the Market with Janet Parshall. And it's just a pleasure to welcome back to the 700 Club, Janet Parshall. Hey. Thanks, Janet.
Happy birthday to you.
Well, thank you.
Happy birthday to you, sir.
I receive it. It's joyous. I'm so glad to see you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for wanting to be a part of God's plan. That's why I'm here today, so happy birthday to you.
Tell me about the mood in the country. You have a chance to sample it. You've got a radio audience of very large numbers. So what are they telling you? Mad,
mad, and madder.
Is that right?
And I think what we are seeing, something we've never seen before, is a spirit of arrogance, this self-aggrandizement, this pompous attitude where you're the peasants, we're the princes, and we're going to tell you what to do. And I think what we're seeing, Pat, the flip side of this story is there's a gentle revolution going on. I was on Capitol Hill on Tuesday meeting with a congresswoman about some broadcasting issues, and it was great because Union Station was filled with moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas carrying signs and the flags of their home state, all there to protest the passage of this bill. We've never seen anything like that in Washington. So the average American usually couldn't have cared anything about politics. Suddenly he said, what's happening to my country? What's happening to my America?
Do you think these people are just as a collective delusion? Are they drinking some funny water or something? Well, what is it?
Yes, there's a very high possibility there's something in the water or something in the air. But we've never seen anything like this. You know, if we could ask John Adams and Patrick Hamilton and Tom Jefferson to join us right now, they would say, you've got this backwards. The power emanates from the people up, not from the top down. And this idea that we don't care what you want, this putting their fingers in their ear and not listening to the people, in the end, Pat, I think is going to cost them their job. And here's why they want to vote this weekend. They want to push this through so fast that they figure it's March, you don't vote until November, you'll be busy with your own life, and you'll forget. So they're counting on the amnesia factor for us to forget exactly what's going to be taking place. I don't think that's going to happen because this is symptomatic of a whole philosophy toward governance. And just because they've done it with health care doesn't mean that they're not going to try it again and again and again. And when they do, they put their own jobs at risk.
In my lifetime, I've never seen anything like it. You know, my father served in the Congress. He was very, very sensitive to the mood of his constituents. I mean, he was there to serve them, and he felt it. He was a public servant. These people are servants. They're supposed to be servants, not lords and kings.
Absolutely. Not public masters. You're absolutely right. Look at that approval rating that came out from Gallup. 80% of the country says Congress is going in the wrong direction. That's not what I call job security. I think that these are a lot of people who are going to forget that they serve at our behest. We gave them their job, and we can rightfully take their job away.
What about the wasteful spending? Are the people upset about that? I mean, it's reached shocking proportions, but are the American people that you're in touch with, are they sensitive to what's going on?
Pat, that's a great question, because I think when you start talking about trillions of dollars, it gets to be like Monopoly play money after a while. People's eyes glaze over because you really can't comprehend. But then when you start to break it down and see what debt will do for each individual family, how it's going to break the back of the mom and dad who are trying, in the words of Scripture, to look well to the ways of their household, it's a wake-up call. It's immoral, and people who've tried to draw a distinction between moral and social issues need to understand that there is a moral aspect to going into debt. Patrick Hamilton said it was anathema to pass debt from one generation to another generation, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Well, it's not just debt. It is an appalling number. I mean, you say it's like Monopoly. I've never seen anything like it in my entire life. We're talking about trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars.
And no end in sight. And in the meantime, we talk about China. China's looking at us now. And by the way, we're more indebted to China than any other country. And China's looking at the dollar right now going, we don't think it's so solvent. Maybe we're going to put the brakes on lending. So that gives government only three options. They print it, and then we have inflation because it loses its value. They borrow it from a foreign country. We're in debt up to our eyeballs to communist China, or they tax us. We have yet to see the tax burden this administration is going to levy against the American public.
Well, they've slipped in this 3.8 percent tax on capital. I mean, that is, again, a new departure for us.
Well, doesn't it fly in the face of the whole principles of the free market that we've seen work so beautifully in this country? So rather than foster the idea of competition and free enterprise and the fact that competition gave us a better mousetrap and a better car and will give us better government and better health care, it's doing exactly the opposite. It's squashing, as much as it can, the concept of competition and moving into the idea of control. And when government controls, two things happen. We get a worse product and the price goes up.
Without question. Well, it looks like they're even thinking about wage and price controls. That's the next step. Well, we're going to pass a law that'll keep prices down. What's your experience from history?
History says that's exactly the opposite of what happens.
Yeah.
Government can't do that. Government needs to pull back. And by the way, there's a biblical principle in that. It steps back and it allows people to practice the art of liberty and self-governance. What we've seen with this administration is exactly the antithesis. The government from Washington believes it should call the shots in our lives. Where we set our thermostat, what kind of a car we drive, what doctor we're going to see. And when that happens, it not only mitigates liberty, but it kills competition.
Do you think he's a socialist? Do you think Obama's a socialist?
Is this on tape?
No, nobody will hear you. It's just between us.
I think it's even worse than that. I think it totters on communism. I think the idea of redistribution of wealth. And I'll give you a classic example. The CBO came out yesterday with the numbers for health care, and they're playing funny figures with Medicare. Okay. Now, it's unconscionable that people have been paying into Medicare for years. The theory is it's going to become unsolvent by 2017, so they're pulling out multiple millions of dollars to try to make it more solvent. Well, really? And then what are you going to do with the multiple millions you've pulled out? They're going to fund programs other than Medicare. That's redistribution of the wealth, if there ever was a working definition. Sure. So you've paid in as a working person for years. Rather than get the benefit, it's going to be redistributed to another program.
Well, it's the same thing like Social Security. I've been saying for years, there's no trust fund. And Al Gore, God bless him, say, well, there's a locked box. There's no locked box. I mean, the minute they get the money, it goes right back out again.
Absolutely. They call it a trust fund. There is no fund, and I don't trust them. Bottom line.
Janet Parshall, God bless you. When is your broadcast heard? Tell us so I can give you a plug.
Thank you very much for that. It's 4 to 6 Central Time, Monday through Friday.
4 to 6 Central Time, and this is
called In the Market with Janet Parshall on Moody Radio.
In the Market, and they get it most places around the country.
And they can, and if they don't have a station near them, they can listen live and free on the internet.
It's on the internet,
yes,
too?
Yes, it is.
Janet, you're terrific.
Thank
Ladies
you,
and gentlemen, this lady is beloved by millions, and I just think she's the world over. And by all means, tune in. You'll get the straight dope, and I'm sure she'll tell you things on her radio she wouldn't dare say on the show. Janet, God bless you.
You too. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.